Two Guys, One Movie, the Brom Bones Edition.
In 3D, the remake.
The remake, featuring Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. This is Steve Arvizo and
Charles Musick.
And we are talking about the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, also known as Sleepy Hollow.
Or The Adventures of Ichabod.
And Mr. Toad. Well,
yeah.
If you saw the original theatrical version,
exactly.
Which Charles just introduced me to, really.
Yes.
Seen the stuff separate, did not see them together.
And maybe a little TV show. Not a lot.
A little bit of the TV show. We'll briefly talk about that as well. But yes, we are talking about Sleepy Hollow. And
another Tim Burton film to the list for Halloween countdown.
Oh, good God. How many have we done so far?
Too many.
Too many. One is enough.
That's what they should have told him.
Well, he's been remaking the same movie since Batman.
Yeah, but actually this is one of the Tim Burton films that I actually really enjoy.
You know, I remember it more fondly than I did when I tried to rewatch it. I like the opening scene. It really set the tone for the film, and then the rest of the film is just kind of like a PG-13 mess. I don't know.
I think it helps that this is basically...
And it's got a much higher rating than most of the other movies that we've talked about, and it's not as good.
As I was reading in the trivia, some of the staff and the crew, the crew working, said when they were walking around the sets and stuff that it felt like they were walking around in Tim Burton's head. This definitely is right up his alley, and I think he had a lot of fun with this movie.
And that really does show, because apparently when you look into the trivia a bit, that anyone who's ever seen the Disney adaptation, whether they've seen the theatrical double feature that had the Wind of the Willows along with it, you'll notice that there is a drastic change in the film, and the fact that in most adaptations, not all, but most adaptations,
in the original story,
they stick to the original story by Washington Irving. Yeah. They stick to the original story, which is Ichabod Crane being a teacher. He's a schoolmaster or something like that. He comes to town. He's an outsider coming in. He's a teacher. In this, they change it to what exactly is his position again? He's not a detective.
He's more of a forensics investigator.
Whatever the turn of the 19th or the 20th century. It's 18th century, is it not?
They say a skeptical investigator, but he's using like forensic science to stuff, which in those times people had never heard of, so a lot of people laugh at him.
Yeah, because this is pre-Civil War? Correct? Yeah, the movie is pre-Civil War, most of the stories are too. But this is a, late 17th century version of CSI? Whatever the case might be. It's Johnny Depp being Johnny Depp. So, he's not a teacher. And apparently a lot of the drastic changes were done because Tim Burton was a big fan of a very known Gothic director, and pretty much aped his film and inserted that into the script that was the screenplay that had already been decided upon. He had a bunch of changes done to the script, the plot, to account for all that. And this is why we got a very different Sleepy Hollow instead of just a flat-out remake of the Disney version.
But the Disney version, as much as I like it now, when I was a kid, it wasn't, like a Disney movie. Yeah. It was shorter, of course.
It was short, yeah. 35 minutes, I believe, is what we...
I like the songs, but for the most part, it kind of just... I don't know, maybe I wasn't a big fan of Ichabod. He seemed kind of a doofus and stuff.
Yeah, Charles was pointing out that he walks like he has a stick up his butt.
He waddles. And he's, they just made him look not like a cool guy, Of course they want him to look geeky.
Charles also pointed out to me that he looked like a caricature version of Bing Crosby, who actually narrates the original Disney version.
Yeah, but he's being used by the girl, to make Brom jealous and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the way they made his character. I was liking Brom more. Yeah, and another thing Charles pointed out is that Brom is pretty much a prototype for Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. 100%. Go back and watch it. You'll see.
He's the American cousin of Gaston.
Yeah.
No one bags broads like Gaston. That's exactly what happens in the Disney version. The Disney version is actually pretty screwed up if you pay attention to it. We were paying attention, we were watching this again, and Charles, you once again pointed out that she's leading on these two guys. She's doing both of them.
She's doing it to get Brom jealous. She really has no interest in Ichabod. And then Ichabod basically, to spoil the Disney one, gets attacked by the Headless Horseman. He's this outsider coming to teach their kids, and he disappears forever. Some people say,
He either got chased off or he was killed. They leave the original story also leaves it very vague. The Disney one gives the possibility of a happy ending, but that's.
And I always assumed it was Brahm that scared off the headless horseman.
In the original book, they do tease that a bit in the original book. The original story, they do tease that a bit at the end, where every time they mention Ichabod, supposedly he smiles knowingly.
Well, they do that in the Johnny Depp version too. Actually, Brahm dresses up as the headless horseman and scares him in one scene.
Yeah,
where he's wearing like.
That's a big nod to the original story and the Disney version as well.
But I like the whole story with Christopher Walken. I thought they made it, they added the witch elements and kind of the supernatural.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a story about a supernatural being in the Disney one. They leave it open. This one, it's like, let's do it. Let's make him, an evil possessed, horseman, and he's killing people, and you find out why, of course. There's all a reason to all of this and why he comes back.
Mm-hmm. They don't just leave you hanging. It's not another monster movie. There is a lot more to it than that.
And it doesn't go too far out there. I mean, sometimes, Tim Burton sways from the path quite a bit, and it's hard to get back on track. This
Alice
movie
in Wonderland?
That's exactly the movie I was thinking of. But, this one follows the path straight, and it gives us a different Sleepy Hollow story that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
But I actually like all the characters. Like, I liked Ichabod in the Johnny Depp. Christina Ricci does great. Katrina Van Tassel. Casper Van Dien plays Brahm, who you might know from Super Troopers. Richard Griffiths is one of the magistrates. He's in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. And another bit of trivia, there are 3 individual actors in here who actually play key roles in the Star Wars prequels.
Yes. What is it? Ray Park. Dooku, which is Christopher Lee.
And one other.
And
Ian McDiarmid.
Ian McDiarmid, Darth Sidious.
Yes. So it's got quite a bit. It's got a pretty full cast for a late 90s Tim Burton movie. I think the only obscene thing in this is the fact that Johnny Depp at the time was playing a 24-year-old.
I don't get hung up on that. With movie makeup and movie magic, he could be, a 24-year-old, that's fine. Plus, that's in the olden days, they age differently then.
They age faster.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
exactly.
okay, yeah.
So a 24-year-old might look like he's 40 back then.
I guess that makes sense.
There you go. Yeah. Problem solved.
There we go. There you have it, folks. But, as much as I like the Disney version, it seems like this one, for whatever reason, seems to be the modern-day benchmark for telling the story. Because the TV series, for a little bit of disclosure, I actually saw a few years back the original pilot. It's not the one that apparently aired on TV. It was the original pilot that was being used to sell it to the networks. And I had done a screening for it back then. And it seems like it was completely different, but it's based more on the supernatural elements of the Tim Burton film, as opposed to the maybe not possibilities of the Disney film or the original story. It's actually, it's set in modern day for the most part, but it has a lot more supernatural elements tied into it. It's really heavy. It's almost like a supernatural version of X-Files, you were saying?
Yeah, and it actually does have the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is what it says the horseman is.
From what Charles says is that and for those who've watched it already, it's quite different from what I saw. I need to give it I probably gotta give it a second chance because it sounds like the pilot changed a lot. I didn't see anything
in the pilot, but what I like the pilot so far. I mean, I don't know how much I would be interested in keeping up with it. I probably can make it through a season. I don't know how long, but it kind of gave me an X-Files feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's popular. It's a very popular show for Fox right now, so I'm not surprised that a lot of people are hooked on it. With me, I saw the original pilot, and it was such a cluttered mess. They had, I think I counted like 6+ storylines going in the pilot for a 40-minute episode. And it was just way too much going on, and it wasn't scary, it wasn't interesting, it was just a bunch of shit happening. And, but I could see where it would have been a good idea to take what they built with, Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow and to try and turn that into something greater. I really like that idea. It just felt like...
I think, though, if they took from Tim Burton, it would be too hard because his movie is completely full circle. I mean, you go from beginning to end, it's closed. You can't really continue from where it leaves off.
But not so much a sequel, but so much as, they took the really distinct supernatural elements of it and turned it up.
A story that, was was a book and then a 30-minute, Disney cartoon. That's what most people probably saw, for it. Tim Burton expanded on it a lot, and the TV show, they took an interesting spin on it. As I said, I gotta give it a couple more episodes, because you can't judge it just based on the pilot, because the pilot, they're trying to give you a whole view of the show, rather than focusing less. As you said, they may not have too many storylines, but that's because they're trying to appeal, like, what we could do with the show.
Oh, very true. But like you said, I asked Charles several things that were in the original pilot, and I'm not going to discuss it here, but there were several key things in there that were really just kind of like, what the hell were they thinking when they added this into it? And it sounds like it got cut because it was so outlandish that there's no way Charles would have forgotten.
And the pilot I saw, they basically condensed, at least from what I saw.
Okay.
And it actually did interest me. I just never got around to watching more episodes.
Well,
it's on my to-do pile.
And it's a very big to-do pile. I'm looking at it right now.
Yes.
It includes dinosaurs.
But we always talk about the ratings of our movies on IMDb. From IMDb, that we're reviewing. And this has got a 7.4. I think this is one of our highest, as you were saying, I think the other day you were saying Addams Family had a pretty high rating.
Yeah, I think Addams Family and this were probably the highest. This and The Mist were like the 3 highest rated things that we've given so far, from what I can recall.
And this is rated out of 223,000 people, so this is quite a bit. I mean,
for IMDb, that's actually
I would give it a 7.5 too, maybe an 8, no more than that. I mean, it's an enjoyable film. I like it. I don't watch it all the time, but
I think the 7.4.
When I do watch it, there are things that I forget that I had seen, and it's kind of fun to be like, oh yeah, that, or and be remembered.
For the basic premise and for the opening scene alone, I think it's a really solid 7.5. I really can't give it. I wouldn't personally give it anything higher, just because I think it drags a lot during the film.
And I would give it an 8 also because out of Tim Burton's films, it's one of his better films, at least more recent films.
That's true, very true.
But now, the Disney version has got a 7.9.
And it's just a shame that it didn't get the solid 8. Who the hell is downvoting this thing?
I don't know. I didn't vote.
Don't vote.
Vote or die.
Vote or die.
But 7.9, that's good. I remember having this when I was a kid. My grandmother actually bought the VHS for us. And it was the cover with the horseman and the actual pumpkin on his hand that he's throwing. And it always was a little creepy to me. But, I mean, it's a fun movie. Your kids will probably get a kick out of it. It was from being made in 1949. It's still something that holds up very well today.
50 years before the Johnny Depp version hit theaters. Wow.
And, I mean, it's not the same as the Sleepy Hollow TV show or the Tim Burton version.
But it's pretty close as an adaptation, especially for a Disney adaptation, which are known for taking a lot of liberties. They didn't really change much of anything other than turn it into a musical that was narrated by and sung by Bing Crosby.
And you get to see Gaston's ancestor.
Actually, it probably would have been an American cousin or something like that.
There you go.
I believe the Beauty and the Beast film was set somewhere in the 1700s or something like that. So there you go.
Yes. Brom Bones.
And
Gaston.
So there you have it, folks. Sleepy Hollow, or The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, or The Adventures of Ichabod Crane and Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad is fun.
Mr. Toad. I still never actually seen it.
Yeah, we had to skip through that. So we don't watch Sleepy Hollow.
We had to focus.
Yes. Get our work done.
This is the kind of misery we put ourselves through for your entertainment. All 12 of you.
But keep listening in, throughout the rest of the week, and maybe we'll have another Tim Burton movie. We're not going to tell you.
We won't ruin the surprise or our potential misery.
Yes.
But this is Steve Arviso.
And Charles Musick.
This has been Two Guys, One Movie, the Brom Bones edition.
And remember, so don't try to figure out a plan. You can't reason with a headless man.